Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How's everybody doing? Did you miss us? We were only here a couple of hours ago when we had Irish singer-songwriter Celtic Thunder's Colm Keegan live from Scotland, from Glasgow. What a great episode that was. Now that means that this is Double Lovity Day. What does it mean when we say Double Lovity? That means we're doing 2 live episodes of the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series just for you, to keep you connected, inspired, empowered, entertained, informed, and everything else we can throw at you. We started this show back in May 2020. We've done over 500, almost 550 plus episodes, day in and day out, of great entertainment, guests coming in from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, comedy, culinary arts, science and nature, health and wellness, and you name it. We always have a good time. We have a live audience right now. They're already commenting away, and we love that. You can comment during the broadcasts when they're live in our live chat. We also have super stickers and super emojis and super chat, which helps support the show, of course, as well. And that's when you are chatting in live chat. If you click on that, it allows us to bring your comments right to the front of the screen. Special colors. I personally thank you as well for doing that. Something new that they're doing on our YouTube channel, which I think is really cool. So I'm your host, Jim Masters. I do this work throughout the day, not just this show. I work in television and radio. I've been doing it for a long time as a host and a journalist and an actor, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover artist, narrator, so much more. And boy, do I love coming into your life and having you come into mine every single day. We've got a wonderful relationship here with all of this entertainment and these deep, poignant conversations and light, love, levity. And of course, our famous JMS Lovity, and our viewers call themselves part of our Lovity squad. They have dubbed me Mr. Lovity. This is Lovity Hall, and our guests are welcome to the Lovity family. I know that sounds repetitive, maybe for some of you who watch every single day, but you get the drill. And we say that for the new viewers. We're always getting new viewers who are discovering the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. And we think that is really cool. And we love that. So continue to do what you've been doing so well, gang. Lovity Squad and everybody else. Spread the word about this unique, special place called the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series. Whew, that's a mouthful. Who came up with that? I did. So spread the word, share the lovity, and let everybody know about our series, because every show is something different. We are here live. You know, anything can happen. And we treat this like a television show. And it's really cool. So instead of having the studio audience like right across from me, we have all of you watching right now live around the world. And you can participate by commenting live. Now, if you are not commenting live, you're just watching and enjoying, that's fantastic as well. You don't have to feel compelled to chat during the live show. It would be great if you can give us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel for this episode and all the episodes you enjoy of JMS Live. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That really helps us big time. There's no cost for that. It just tells us, you know, that you're following. And also it allows us to alert you when there are new episodes. So there you see that button there, subscribe, click on that, no cost. And look what happens. Boom. You are subscribed. You're part of the JMS family when you subscribe. You can also comment during the show and click that notification bell so you never miss any of our cool episodes of our daily live international entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series. Cool to have everybody here. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being with us. Busy day. I was on the air all day today, and then we had the show at 2 with Colm Keegan from Ireland. Tonight, we've got another amazing guest, somebody that you've heard, somebody that you've seen. I know you know and love her. Lynn Jacobs is here. Yes, what a brilliant career she's had and continues to have. She's coming to us live from New Jersey. Yes, just over the George Washington Bridge in New Jersey. She has done everything. You know, she has been involved in television. She's been involved in stage. She's been involved in film. You know, she also sang backup for the Carpenters. Yes, the famous Carpenters as well. She's had principal roles in both production and concert versions of Carmen and so much more, many other classical gems. She's been special guest performer for the Los Angeles First AME Church Sunday morning radio show, guest star for Princess Cruises, Joy starring in her own main stage shows and performing leads in 10 different productions at sea as well. Broadway, she was Beatrice in the world premiere of Marie Christine. That's right. Also, the revival of The Music Man, the first national Broadway tour productions of Ragtime and Hal Prince's Showboat. Off Broadway, glorious career in off Broadway, created the roles of Power Woman and Menopause the Musical, and Delia in Asylum, The Strange Case of Mary Lincoln, in the Encore series as the answer in Lost in the Stars, and also Stand By for Madame Mouchon in the Manhattan Theater Club production of Our Leading Lady. Also, Delia in the York Theater's Asylum, The Strange Case of Mary Lincoln. The list goes on and on. She's been in The King and I in regional performances, as well as Anything Goes and South Pacific and All Shook Up. The list goes on and on. Film and television galore, absolutely. She's been on The Blacklist TV series, Manifest, Luke Cage, House of Cards, Limitless, Nurse Jackie, Gotham, and Menace 2, Society, the teleplay, Close to the Heart, and so much more. Incredibly blessed to have a musical variety from opera to Motown with outstanding musicians of the Portland Symphony, Phoenix Symphony, Alabama Symphony, the Jackson Symphony, the Winston-Salem Symphony, and so much more. When not entertaining audiences, she likes to do nothing better than really jumping a fence or two and working together with her oh so handsome husband, Michael. Her mother sent this to me. Putting pencil and paint and pen and paper to canvas for their imaginative artist endeavor, Phantom Tracks. We're going to talk about that and so much more. But she is a real joy to have on our show, and she's going to join us in just a second. First, why don't we check in with some of our viewers who are watching around the world right now? Our lovedies. Allison says, going to be another good show. I like that. Good to see you, Allison. We love that. And Sherry is here, and she's watching from Kansas, USA. Hello, one and all. Hope you're all keeping warm. It's a brisk 42 degrees in Kansas. Well, it's only 48 here. We're in the New York area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, along the southern New England coast between New York and Boston, and it's only 48, so not much warmer here on the coast. Mary Bishop watching in Florida. What's the temperature there in FLA? Are you warmer? I think so. In Pine Island, Florida there. Hello, Jim and Lovedies. Good to see you as well, Mary. And Dan Singleton is here, and Dan says, hi, Joy, I'm on with your mom and my wife, Joan. Mom says you are looking great. That is fantastic. Great. Dan, welcome to the show. Good to have you here as well. Dawn is here. She's watching. Good to see you, Dawn. Christine is here from North Carolina. Christine Clifton. Hello, all lovedies. Good to see you, Christine. This is our second show of the day live here on JMS Live. And Kathleen Walker is in New York City. She says, hey, Jim. Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. Good to see you, Kathleen. Christine also adds, greetings, Jim and lovely friends. Welcome Joy to JMS Live tonight. Smiles from Dan Singleton and everybody else who's commenting. Thanks for all these great comments. Good to have you here, and everybody who's watching live and those who will be watching a little bit later on here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Lisa Rodrigo is here also from New Jersey. Hello all. Welcome, Joy. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you, Lisa, as well. Jane watching in Sweden. Good to see you, Jane. Welcome to the show. As always, this is our second show where you're tuned in as well, and that is fantastic. So, as I mentioned, we've got a spectacular guest who is joining us, and it's a really, really cool opportunity to welcome her to the Jim Masters Show Live. So let's join hands here and welcome our very special guest, Joy Lynn Jacobs, live and direct from the Garden State. She's all smiles. And here she is. How are you?
Oh, I'm fair to middling. How are you?
Very good. It's nice to have you on the show. Star of stage, film, and television, actress, singer extraordinaire.
Thank you. And thank you. And I have to a disclaimer. Dan, who said he's with my mom, I have 51 first cousins. Dan is one of them.
Wow. 51?
And he's down there in South Carolina with my mama, keeping my mama company. So Yeah. And
Wow.
my
What's your
mother is
mother's name?
I have to tell you, she is Dr. Janet Mason.
Dr. Janet Mason. The
Yes.
doctor's in the house. Nice to see you, Dr. Mason. That is wonderful when mom is watching and mom gave you a thumbs up. She says you look marvelous. And I have to agree with mom. You got to follow what the doctor says. And she's right. How are you tonight?
Excellent.
You're doing excellent. That's
Yeah.
terrific. We've been living in some strange times, haven't we?
Yeah, think. Yeah. Yeah, slightly.
So, how have you been dealing with it all? Obviously, you're a creative artist. You love being around people. You're a storyteller.
Mhm.
You're an entertainer. You're communal, like I am as well. And you crave, the roar of the crowd and being in touch with people. And we've had to sort of adapt and pivot with all of that through all of this craziness. How have you been, Joy? And how have you continued to experience joy, pun intended, through all of this?
Hey, watch that Joy stuff. I was born Christmas Eve. They couldn't think of anything else. Um, it has
Did you get
been
double presents when you have the birthday around that time, or
no, I got one thing I really wanted for Christmas. I was very fortunate. I always got presents for Christmas and my birthday.
your birthday?
But the one thing I most wanted is I did mention I have 51 first cousins, didn't
Yes, you
I?
did.
Yes, and they used to descend upon our house at Christmas time. So the one thing I wanted was to get away from that cacophony.
Cacophony, that's tonight's word, right?
So, and my dad used to say, "Come on, Puddin', I'll take you to the barn." He would take me to the barn and drop me off and let me hang around the horses on my birthday. And then
Wow.
then I'd go home. I mean, I love my family and all, but
Yeah.
that's a lot of people.
That's a
So
lot of people. Boy, I thought we had a lot on my mother's side. My mother's the
yeah.
youngest of 16.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You really? My mother's I think she's third up from the bottom in out of 10.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's how they did it. There was only
Yeah.
3 channels to watch back then. I mean, there was no Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or any of those
Yeah.
things.
Now, what I've been doing in the pandemic, it has given me a path, well, forced me to take a path to hone some of the acting skills that, I don't know if you know this, but when you grow up and you're told, hey, you should be an opera singer,
Yeah.
uh, nobody says you should learn to act. They just say you should sing. So I started out with singing classical music, opera, and no one mentioned I should act. And then when I found musical theater, I said, hey, that's really more my speed. Still, no one mentioned that, hey, maybe you should learn to act. Uh, and then I made it to Broadway, and I finally looked up and said, these people are much better than me. Maybe I should learn to act. So I've, and then once upon a time, my agent, wonderful agent, sent me out on audition, and I came with my book, my songbook, and I learned the sides. And when I got there, I did the sides, and they said, "Thanks, that's wonderful. We'll be in touch." And I went,
Yeah.
"Don't you want to hear me sing?"
Yeah. In touch. I mean,
And they said, "You do know this is a play, right?" And I'm like, "What?" So that's when I thought, "Yeah, acting is a thing, and I should do it." So I've been used this. This has been actually weirdly helpful for me. I've been had my head in many, many, many scripts, done a lot of readings via Zoom. Zoom is a thing. Who knew? And
yeah.
I've learned so much, and I have gotten some work because of that. I'm still working on it. Acting is a work in progress. You never learn it all.
Yes. Hey, Haley's here. Hey, Joy, cousin Haley, and Aunt Mabel here.
Hey guys,
This is great. Did anybody bring pie? Give me a
sweet
slice of
potato
pie.
pie.
Oh, yes. Now you're
Yeah,
talking. Now
yeah.
you're talking. This is fantastic. I love it. I love all that. And then when they see new folks, they're all welcoming everybody.
Oh,
And they're
that's
welcoming
nice.
Aunt Mabel and Haley. And that is so cool. That's the Lovity Squad here on the Jim Master Show Live.
Works for me.
So tell us about the early inspirations for you that, really pointed you in the direction of wanting to become this artiste, really expressing yourself in a multitude of ways as well,
Yeah,
singer and actress and so much more.
yeah. Well, Um, Once upon a time, when I was a little kid, I made it very clear to everyone that what I wanted to be most, without a question, deep in my heart, the thing I most wanted to be is a horse trainer. And I was very fortunate. My mom and dad didn't know anything about horses, but they stumbled upon an equestrian academy in New Jersey, that Wood Lane Riding Academy, that's what it was. And I had a wonderful teacher there, who sat me down one day and he said, you're good on a horse, but to be a trainer, and remember, this was a long, long time ago. He said to me, the only really successful trainers are tall, thin, older white men. You are a short, fat black soprano. It ain't going to happen. So I was kind of crushed.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
but then I looked around when we would go to horse shows, and I realized, holy mackerel, he's right. He pointed out to me, and this was very sad at the time. I think it's changed now, but at the time, women would not take their horses to other women to be trained.
Mm,
They would only take them to men.
just take them to the men. Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked around and go, holy crap, he's right. I got to do something else. So, and I was always able to sing. I just couldn't honestly say that's what I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
loved singing, loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But to do it on stage in front of people, maybe I should mention this. I was ridiculously shy until I was about, I'm going to say 14 or 15. It took me a long time. So getting on stage, I mean, in front of my family, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
In front of my church, no problem. But get on a stage and do that.
And do it all. Well, what happened then around that 14, 15? That was a pivotal moment to allow you to free up and open up to express yourself. Did something happen that triggered that for you, Joy?
Yeah, actually, I was 13. I was singing for the USO. I was singing with a USO troupe called the Delaware Valley Dolls. And I don't think they exist anymore. And remember, this was during
DVD for short.
Yeah, there you go. Who knew? This was during the Vietnam War. It was toward the end of the Vietnam War. And that was my very first concert. I had started taking voice lessons from an amazing teacher named Anita Ferraro. And if anybody out there knows anything about Anita Ferraro, please let me know.
Yeah.
She taught at the Haddonfield Conservatory of Music. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. Anyway, I went to do this show, and I thought I didn't know what to make of being on stage. It seemed like fantasy to me, being on stage.
Right.
So here they take this 13-year-old. My mom put me in a nice little gown, and I stood on stage, and the curtains were closed. And they opened up the curtains, and I had my hands like this, and I looked up and I said, "Ouvre tes yeux bleus." And I just stood there. Because what they didn't tell me is we were in a hospital, and the audience was young men on gurneys, wheelchairs, as far as the eye could see. And I was shocked. And I walked off stage. I didn't know what to do. My mom was in the wings, and she said, "Look, I don't care if you never sing again, but those young men deserve to hear you finish." And I walked back out on stage, and I sang the rest of the song. And they were so warm and so happy. And they said, "Go ahead, twinkle toes." And I'm like, twinkle toes, I'm not dancing, but who cares? And they loved it. And the warmth, the energy that it's hard for a non-performer to understand. The energy that you get from an audience. And I thought, I just made them happy. And I like this exchange of energy. So I think that's what made me buckle down and take it seriously.
And do you still take it seriously?
Well, not as seriously as I should, probably. There came a point at which, when I was about 17, I was playing Mercedes in Carmen. And there was a soprano playing Micaela, who and my buddy was playing Fresquita, and we were always in trouble with the conductor because we were the youngest ones among the principals. Yeah, that's another story, but it would take another hour. Anyway, uh, this woman walked over to me because I was kind of wondering, still kind of shy and still not sure if this is what I wanted to do. But you talk about having a switch flipped. This woman walked over to me and she said, "I saw your audition. Your hair is beautiful. You're very pretty and I love your dress, but you just don't sing very well."
Mhm. And running through your mind at that point was what?
Was, will I go to jail if I kill her right here in front of all these people?
Yeah.
No, actually, what ran through my mind was, "Oh, no, you didn't."
Yeah.
And I realized there were, I had run into occasionally run into people like that, and I'd sort
Yeah.
of let it slide, let it go, you know. That was it. The switch flipped, and I was like, no, no. I'm gonna go out there and be the best at this that I can possibly be because I ain't having that.
That's great. So you took that as a challenge to prove her wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I've had to do that a lot in my
Yeah,
career.
over the years, yeah, in many different ways. But it's created strength and resilience for you, hasn't it? You can really probably tackle just about anything.
Yeah, I think I like to think of myself as a tough old broad, and I've had to stand up and be counted more than more than I like to more than I like to admit, more than I'm kind of sorry that it has to happen.
That you've even had to, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't like to confrontation is not my thing. I have a lot of my father in me, and my dad, he wasn't into it. My dad was dial tone.
yeah, yeah,
He was
yeah,
he
yeah,
was the greatest. He was the greatest, and he could take it. He could take
yeah,
it. And he would jump up and defend his family. Oh yeah.
yeah, right, exactly, right.
Yeah.
Take it, but then once you go into a certain area, that's then all bets are off, right?
Amen.
Exactly.
Amen.
Right. Yeah. I understand that very much so. So for you, as you know, as you're honing your skills and sort of moving on up in many different ways and fine tuning your craft, what would you say would be one or two of those bigger breaks for you that really mattered, those opportunities early on that really sort of people started noticing, Joy Lynn, and they're like, okay, she's good. Let's bring her in. Let's work with her. Were there a few that stand out for you early on?
Oh yeah. It's funny you should say that. I feel like I've had breaks, a lot of them along my career. And some of them happened when I had no idea they were happening. And
Right.
I didn't even know they were a break until like 5 years
Then you
later.
review it, you're like, actually, that if
Yes.
that didn't happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
I sang, and my mother will remember this. I sang on TV when I was I think 13 for
Okay.
the People's National Bank Talent Contest.
Wow.
I sang Musetta's Waltz, and I was 13, so I was kind of freakish. So I was doing a lot of arias when I was actually I started when I was 12, and I was doing arias, but that's because my wonderful voice teacher realized I was lazy, and I wouldn't do vocal exercises. She said, "You don't want to do this vakai and all this other stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, not really." She said, "Well, we're just going to teach you some arias then." So I started doing arias right away. Anyway, and I lost the competition. I came in second to a band that played "Come On Baby, Light My Fire."
Yeah.
But that's I think that's one of the ways I ended up in the USO troupe was because they saw me on TV doing that. So I learned to do these little steps you take. The other breaks I've had. Oh my gosh. Well, oh yes, I sang for Princess Cruises for 6 years,
Yeah.
which was didn't bother me at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Is the room moving a little bit side to
Yeah,
side?
little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Still
singing.
looking for the midnight buffet, huh?
Oh, you know what? Working on a cruise ship, you learn a lot about human beings.
Yes.
Yeah. They would
And
come.
if there's alcohol involved, then you really learn.
Oh,
Ooh,
honey, no, they didn't need alcohol.
Oh, even without it. Hmm.
Um,
Tongue
I
holding, you had to hold your tongue a few times.
oh, I never. I only when I was only in my first contract did I hold my tongue. After that, I was like, you know what? If I don't stand up and say stop it, then it won't stop.
Right.
I swear I'm going to write a book and call it "As the Anchor Drags" because
Yeah.
holy mackerel. There were people who would let parents would bring their kids on board and just divorce themselves of all responsibility of them and let
Yeah.
them do
Yeah.
whatever.
Like it's a big like nursery room or something. No, it isn't. It's a
Yeah,
cruise ship in the ocean
thank you.
with
They would let
3,000 other people.
Yes, they would let their children on the Pacific Princess. Yes, I sang. If anybody knows this, it was the Love
The
Boat, the actual Love
love
Boat.
boat.
The
Da,
lo-
da,
uh, the
yeah.
Pacific Princess and the Island Princess were the Love Boat. They were the same design, so they used them in the show. And the stage was actually the ballroom floor because this ship had not actually been designed with a showroom. So it had this marble ballroom floor with like stadium seating that went up, and that's where we did our show. The problem with doing it like that is that you occasionally have people accidentally walking across the stage. Children would walk across the stage constantly, and that was really interesting. The most interesting thing that happened on a ship was we were doing a 40s show, and it was full. The auditorium was full. Some people snuck in anyway and sat in the aisles. And these three girls from France sat in the center aisle with these column gowns on, but they couldn't sit down very well. So they pulled up their gowns and wrapped their hands around their knees. And when I and the other, everybody was the people on stage with me were cracking up because you could see everything they had down south. And I turned around determined to not react to this. I turned around, the band was behind us,
Yeah.
and the drummer had the stick in one hand and binoculars in the other, and I lost it.
Mm,
But I did get a big break on the ships. I was on the Royal Princess or the Regal,
mhm.
I can't remember which. And this man
Yeah.
came over and sat down next to me and he said, I loved you in the show. He said, with his very English accent, he said, would you be willing to fly to England to audition for a show? And I said, oh, what show? He said, well, Patti LuPone is getting ready to leave the show. They're looking for someone to replace her. Would you be willing? I'm like, yeah, I'll come. So I flew to England and I did this audition on the stage of the Prince Edward Theater, which I thought was very strange, with the spotlight on, which I thought was really strange. And then I went home and later on got a call that apparently Patty had been in the audience along with
Wow.
some other people. Because there was a lot of people out there, but I couldn't see them because I had the spotlight on. I went home and they said, yeah, she watched your audition. She's decided to stay with the show.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah. You were that good.
and that close. Yeah.
That close. So what happened from there? I mean, this experience, how many years did you do this with the cruise ships?
6 years.
6 years.
6
Yeah.
years. It was wonderful. I
Yeah.
learned so much. When I came on board, I didn't know my butt from a hole in the ground, quite honestly. They told me I was going to be doing a cabaret. No, they said, do you have your own cabaret? They kept saying that. And I said, the show cabaret? I didn't even know what they were talking about. I didn't know they meant my own show. And when I figured it out, it was a week before I was supposed to go on the ship. So I said, how do I do this? And they said, well, you have to have charts, your own arrangements for the band. And I'm like, I don't even know what those are.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So I called a good friend, Jay Bradley, he's passed away, sadly. Jay, I called him. I said, Jay, what do I do? He said, honey, don't worry. I'll hook you up. He wrote charts for me that literally were delivered to the ship.
Wow.
The day I hadn't even heard these things.
And what were they?
The charts?
Yeah.
I had Hey Good Looking and Joy to the World. That was my intro music. And gosh, what else?
The electric slide?
No,
That's on all the cruise ships, right? The
Oh my
electric.
God.
It's electric.
I'm so glad that I was a guest star, what they called a fugga. That's a
Yeah.
female guest entertainer, a fugga.
Right. You've learned a new word this evening on the Jim Master
Yes.
Show Live.
And I was a female guest entertainer, which meant I had passenger privileges. So I didn't have to do anything other than the shows.
So you didn't have to. Yeah,
That's all. That's
that's
all.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I learned I learned how to perform for an audience, not at
Yes.
them.
Right. Very
I learned,
different.
I didn't, they said I had to do patter. And I said, what do I talk about? And JJ King, who was the male guest entertainer, and God, he saved my life with this. He said, honey, audiences are nosy. Just talk about your family.
You,
So I said,
did you have
okay.
a co-host with you doing the pitter if you were doing the patter?
No, no. You know what? Kind of. The bandmaster.
The
Yes.
bandmaster.
Because he knew that I was a little, over my head. And he said, honey, don't worry about it. Well, everybody just took care of me.
That's great, huh?
Yeah.
And you got a chance to travel to some pretty exotic places, right? And
All over the
what were
world.
some of the places you got a chance to visit that you really enjoyed?
Well, I did the Mexican Riviera, the Panama Canal. I went through the Panama Canal so many times
Did you?
that the guys who handle the mules, that's what they call the hookups that pull the boats through the canal.
Right.
The guys that handle the mules, one morning about, I don't know, 6:30 in the morning, when they were hooking up the boat, they banged on my window and they said, "Hola, señorita, hola." And I went, oh my God, they know me. Let's see, where else did we go? We went to Canada, up the coast for the fall cruise, which was amazing. Um, all over the place, really, all over.
That's fantastic, huh? Would you do it again?
I would. The contracts were really long. I loved it, but my first contract it was supposed to be 5 months long, turned out to be 6 months long.
Yeah.
And that's a long
To be
time.
out on the high seas. Yeah. Yeah.
Show business is a little bit divorced from reality, but being in show business on a ship, you're nowhere near reality.
It's like, yeah, it's almost like you're on the moon in a way. You're totally
It's,
in a different galaxy, different universe.
yeah.
Did you feel when you first went out, did you feel homesick? Did you feel disconnected? I mean, you had all this action going on in this one ship. Did you feel disconnected because you were on the high seas sailing away?
Honestly, no. I loved it. I loved being at sea. My very first trip on my very first cruise was Panama Canal.
Mm,
No, we went because I lived in California at the time, and we sailed down from LA to Acapulco, and then from Acapulco through the canal. So my first cruise was actually LA to Acapulco. And I was so busy rehearsing.
yeah.
I didn't even know which way was up. I was trying to get used to the fact that the floor may be moving under you while you're performing. I ate. I couldn't find the cafeteria. I couldn't find the dining room, so I just went to the gift shop and ate peanuts for a week because
You could have worked on an airline.
I couldn't work on an airline. But I loved it. I really got used to it. I
Yeah.
loved it so much. And my dad, when I we went down, that's right, we went to Acapulco and then came back to LA and then back to Acapulco and then we went through the Panama Canal. So I had 2 weeks on the ship before we went through the canal. When we came back to LA, my mom and dad came to see me. And I was standing on the deck, waving at them. And dad said, "Hey," he's like yelling from the deck. And I'm thinking, "Dad, please, I'll be there in a minute." He said, "Did you have a good time?" I said, "Yes, Dad." He said, "Did you get to do all kinds of music?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, so you swung all kind of ways, huh?" And I was like, "Dad, stop talking. Just stop talking."
My boss is in the next room listening.
Yes.
All meant with love, levity, right?
Yes.
All meant with levity. It's like that is funny. So when did the thought of, okay, I've enjoyed the cruises, but now I want to do some work on land. When
Right.
did you make that decision? Was there a role or a project or something calling your name where you said, I got to go now because this is where I got to head?
Well, keeping in mind that I performed for Princess for 6 years, but I had been on stage a lot of years before
Way.
that.
Yeah.
And done a whole lot of regional and dinner theater. California had a lot of dinner theater then. At the Curtain Call Dinner Theater in Tustin, California. Love that place. Um, I just wanted to get back to it.
Yeah.
That's where I was from.
Yeah.
So I what did I do? I moved to Florida temporarily for about I was there for about 3 years. And I contracted a weird kind of asthma
Mm,
that had messed up my voice. And I
yeah.
said, I need to do something else. So I went to Florida to check out doing acting out there
Yeah.
because somebody said there's a pretty active acting community in South Florida, in Miami. So I went there and took a class. And while I was taking the class, I was at dinner one night. Oh, this is one of those weird breaks. I was at dinner one night, and this guy comes up to me. He says, have you ever thought about doing plus size modeling? And I said, why would I do that? And he said, you'd be good at it. And I'm like, really? So I went to Florida and started working with an agency, Michelle Pommier Agency in Florida, doing plus size modeling.
Did you enjoy it?
It was okay. It was interesting. It was very
I
interesting.
love that reaction.
Is that a diplomatic enough reaction?
You're very good at like tempering, and I like that.
It was fun, but it was also that's a weird world. I thought opera was weird. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's and I still could not the whole time. Have you ever had a gig, a job, something, and you wondered what the heck you were doing there? That's
Yes. Yes.
and you wonder how did I get here and why
Yeah.
am I still here?
Right. Yeah. What was the thing that they saw, or what? It's right. Yes. So, how have you handled those situations? Did you just gingerly exit stage left, or
Yeah. A lot of time.
yeah,
It was fun for 3 years, but I was only in Florida 3 years
yeah.
and I left.
But you also sang backup for the Carpenters too.
Oh, I did that in college.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I was singing with the Cal State University choir, the university choir at the time, which was the ambassador choir, which is the school that Karen and Richard Carpenter had attended before I got there. So whenever they were looking for backup singers and stuff, they would come to the college to get them. And I started out with them. It was a very short time gig. I was not with them for a long time, but we sang off and on. I gotta remember what year it was, but it started with the Christmas concert. And see, it wasn't long because Karen died very shortly after that.
Around 83, right? Yeah.
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 So we sang at the Long Beach Convention Center, which was new.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And I was doing the soprano arias in the Messiah for that concert. And I had on a black dress and all the lights went out. My mom said, you sounded great, but all we could see was your teeth. Singing backup for the Carpenters was great. Karen had such a wonderful, wonderful voice
Didn't she?
and such a wonderful person. So sweet.
And she didn't want to initially be the front person. She was the drummer in the back, and they were able to convince her to come out forward because her voice was unbelievable. When you do hear it pop up on the radio at any time, especially at Christmas time, Merry Christmas, Darling, and some of these songs, you're like,
Well, see, that was written by our choir director.
oh, it was?
Yeah. Frank Pooler. He wrote that song.
That's wow. So that was the choir director.
Yep.
Wow.
He was
Great song.
he was an extraordinary man. When I joined the choir, I had no idea what a huge deal he was in choral music. We went to the Choral Directors Association convention in Dallas, Texas. And they dragged us in there at some ungodly hour, like 8 o'clock in the morning to sing. And I was thinking, you got to be kidding. Why are we here? And we were all half awake, and we had been to Baby Doe's the night before, and half of us were still hungover. And I get in the room, in this ballroom, and it's one of those ballrooms that is a ballroom that's made up of like all the ballrooms that they have dividers for. So it's massive. It was standing room only. It was packed with people. And I kept thinking, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. What are you people doing
What is
here?
this? Yeah.
And then when they introduced him, that crowd went manic.
They did. Huh?
And I suddenly thought, oh, he must be important. He was hugely important.
Wow. How much, I know you have a deep faith, and how much has the church and that music and just the message impacted your work, your style, your vision, and what you bring to the table? I would imagine quite a bit, huh?
Yes. The church, as much as you, how can I put this? When you're singing, you have to have a reason to sing.
Right.
And there have been many times when I'm in the middle of a song and I tell myself, thank God, thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. And I have felt a presence that I know I learned to feel from being in church, from singing for church. It was the same presence I would feel when I'm singing in church. And I would also feel that presence if I was not doing what I should be doing.
Right. Right.
um,
Did you feel like you are, and maybe still do, almost with that presence, do you feel like you are a conduit, a facilitator? There's an energy that's running through you as you're performing, as you're sharing. There's a plug-in that you have, and it's filtering through you and coming out in your work.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, especially there are certain songs that I
Yeah.
sing, certain moments in a show that I just know that this information that I'm giving, that I'm doing right now, can mean something to people. And every time I sing in church, that's the way I feel, that I'm not going to sing just something just because I like it. I want to sing something because I like it soul deep, so much so that I think I can translate that to other people. And that I learned early on in church, which I think has helped me immensely
Mm.
in my performance.
What brought you to the big city, to the Big Apple? I mean, you did all this work prior to coming to New York.
Mhm.
What was that catalyst that brought you to New York, and what was that experience like coming to the big city?
I'm a freak. Let me say that right there. When you ask
Now
about
that you got that out of your system.
um once again, when I talk about having breaks that I didn't even
Why
know.
don't you have your own sitcom? You could have your own sitcom on NBC.
Bring
I
it on, bring it
Bring it
on.
on.
Um,
That's what you can call it.
bring it on.
Bring it on.
um,
Write that
I
down.
I never knew how I was never aware that I was any good at that I was special. And some people don't believe that because they think I talk too much. I brag too. Yeah, I talk too much. I come by it honestly. Ask my mother. Um,
It's
ask any.
passion. It's
My
passion.
mother's maiden name is Harrison, and I always say in the Harris it's telephone, television, tell anyone in the Harrison family. Um, we I've never thought I was particularly special. I always had a passion for doing this. I love being on stage. I love performing. I love that connection with the audience. But I never thought of it as something that was a career. I mean, it really took me a while to realize, oh yeah, I'm doing this for a living now, aren't I?
Yeah.
Um, when I was in Florida, I just as I was about ready to leave Florida because There's only so much of Miami I could take, quite honestly. It was a fun place to visit, but living there is not me. It's not me. It's a fun place, but
You're
I
not
came to
ready
New
to be
York.
a golden girl?
No, not yet. Soon, but not yet. My friend Lenya Rideout, who is a wonderful performer, and if you haven't had her on the show, you should.
Yeah.
She drove with me to Florida, my first trip there, and then she went on to New York. And she was doing very well. She was auditioning for shows and getting good looks, and we just knew any day now she was going to get a Broadway show, and she had an agent. And I went with her one day. I went to visit her one day, and we went to see her. Oh, I called. God, I'm telling this all out of order. Once upon a time, I did a song contest in Savannah. It's a Savannah music contest. I can't remember what it's called. And I came in like, I don't know, third place or something. No, I came in fourth. And Della Reese yelled at me because she said I didn't try hard enough.
Della Reese, wow.
Oh, yes, she yelled at me. She was like, come here. And she said, you were just fooling around. And I said, yes, I was.
Did you feel like you were touched by an angel?
No, I felt like I was hit by a hammer. She was not having it.
She was specific and direct.
Very specific and direct. And I met Charles, oh gosh, what's his name? Who wrote Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it'll come back to me. And I met him. He was one of the judges. And he said to me, listen, if you're ever in New York, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay.
I'll be there tomorrow.
No, because again, clueless. I had no idea.
Right. It wasn't something that you were.
I'm thinking, okay, fine. He's a nice guy. I'll call him when I get there. So when I got to New York to see my friend, Lenya, I gave him a call and I said, hi, I'm just calling to say hi because you did. He said, how fast can you get over to the York Theater? And I went, okay. So I said, Lenya, do you know where that is? She says, yeah, I know where that is. So we went to the York Theater. And he wanted me to do a role in a workshop of Golden Boy. And I said, oh, I'm only here for a week. He said, that's all it takes is a week. And I said,
that's it. Yeah.
Okay. He said, have your agent call me. I'm like, sure. Didn't have an agent. So Lenya took me to her agent. Her agent shut the door on me. And I literally stuck my foot in the door and said, look,
right.
I have this opportunity. I have no idea what to do with it. Will you help me or not? And she said, oh, they've already asked you to come. I said, yeah. So that was my, okay, maybe I should get my butt to New York moment.
And that led to a lot of other things, right? Some really magical things that started to come your way. What happened from there for you?
Well, I moved to New York to a brownstone up in Washington Heights. I was with 3 other girls and auditioned for lots of things and auditioned for Showboat, which the first national tour of Showboat, and didn't hear back, which, it happens. Sure. So I took another gig in Wisconsin at the Fireside Theater, doing a Christmas show there. And 1 week into rehearsal, I get a call from casting for Showboat saying, we need you to come now. And I'm like, that was 3 months ago, guys. I said, and I'm a little busy. And they're like, well, maybe we need to buy you out of your contract. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So they talked amongst themselves and decided they could wait till I was done because, after Christmas anyway. And as soon as I did that, then I went off to do the first national tour of Showboat with my dog.
The dog in tow, right?
Yes. Yes.
What was that like? I mean, the first national tour of Showboat, were you sort of pinching yourself? I mean, what was running through your mind at that time? Or were you just so busy doing the work you didn't have time to really, and sometimes that's a blessing when you don't focus on the monumental nature of what it is. You just do it, and then later on can say, wait a minute, that was that? What was it like for you, Joy?
Mm-hmm. Once again, I didn't understand the monumental nature at all. I had done so many shows, local shows in California where I lived, dinner theater, regional theater, blah. It just seemed like another step in the evolution.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about, I literally blew into New York, did an audition for this and got it. And didn't occur to me that was a big deal. But when I got to hear the cast sing for the first time together, it was like an epiphany, because most of the Black chorus were opera singers.
Yeah.
And it was just glorious. The music is so glorious. We also had to deal with protesters who, fortunately, they were sporadic, but there was a few. We had a few problems with people saying, how can you do this? How can you as a Black woman do this show about slavery? And somebody pointed out to me, and it made so much sense. And I said, for the next person that came up to me and said, why are you doing this? I said, first of all, this show is about Magnolia and Gaylord, not about slavery. What is happening in the background of the show is part of history, unfortunately. And I'm just glad that I was in the Hal Prince version that treated that history with a very real feel. There was no sugarcoating it, and it was not, he didn't try to make it pretty. He made it very grounded and gritty. And I'm thinking we're lucky we're doing this version of it. And it was wonderful. And I got to understudy Queenie, and I was on quite a bit.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing, huh?
Matter of fact, when we got to LA, we had been doing the show, I think, in Minneapolis before then. And when we got to LA, they had a commercial on for the show. And I sat there going, wow, Anita Berry, who was playing it, Queenie. We were all sitting in the dressing room watching the commercial on TV. No, it wasn't just a commercial. It was like a segment of one of those talk shows. They played a whole bunch of pieces from the show. And I sat there going, wow, Anita looks really different on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not Anita.
That's
That's
not
me.
Anita. That's me.
And they kept saying Anita Berry. I'm like, that's not Anita Berry. That's me.
Yeah, I recognize that face.
Yeah, it was great. It was the singers, just, and the story is so huge. And Old Man River, I mean, it's worth the price of the admission just to hear the Old Man River, really.
Mm. And then how about Beatrice in the world premiere of Marie Christine? I mean,
That was fun.
is also quite epic, huh?
Yeah, it was that I expected to be massive. And it was a huge undertaking. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but the production wise, that was at the Lincoln Center, and they took out the back wall of the theater, of the stage. They took, because the back wall is removable and it leads to the workshop.
Yeah.
Right. They took out the back wall, painted the whole workshop area black, so that when Marie Christine's mother came on as a ghost, they had her on a platform all the way at the back of the workshop, and that platform with just two lights on her would slide forward. It was creepy as all get out. Now, here's the thing. I was covering Marie Christine's mother, and Vivian Reed was playing the role, but I was covering it. Vivian was out the first night that Vivian was out. They hustled me back there and put me on the platform, and then they left and all the lights went out. And I'm up there on this platform in the dark. And it scared me.
Yeah,
I've never been so frightened in my, I was terrified.
But you got through it, right?
I got through it. I got to work with Audra and Darius DeHaas, and
he was a guest on our show not that long ago, and
he is amazing,
Darius. And also, you had an opportunity to expand your acting skills under the guided hands of luminaries such as Austin Pendleton, who was also a guest on our show.
Yes, he was an acting teacher. He was teaching a class that I took, because I finally buckled down and took a couple of acting classes. I have signed up for more acting classes. I've lost money on acting classes because I would get in, say, 10 class 10 class acting class. I'd get 5 classes and then have to go do a show.
Right. So you couldn't like go. Yeah.
So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, yikes, I lost about, I'm going to say $2,000 in acting class fees that I couldn't get back. But I was working, so.
But you were working, so it
He
was.
was Austin Pendleton was an amazing teacher. He taught me how to, he was instrumental in helping me learn how to connect with a character so that it felt more like me and not like something outside of myself.
Right. Which and explain that to the audience why it's important to really master that.
If you constantly, if you're speaking the words that are not yours from a page, and that could be, unless you connect with it, unless you internalize it, unless you find a way to make those words that come out of your mouth sound like they're coming from your brain and not just from the page, then you will always sound like you're acting. And you should never, if the audience can tell that you're acting, you're not going to have much of a career.
When you are acting, are you transported to another place? Are you in a zone? Does something happen to you when
Mm.
you're immersed in the character?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There have been many, many, many times that I've been on stage and I remember coming on stage and saying the first words, and I don't remember, Joy doesn't remember what happened between the time I went on stage and the time I came off stage, because I was somebody else when I was on stage.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
That's
weird.
really deep. Well, you ever have that happen when you're driving? I mean, I've had that happen where I went over a bridge and I'm driving and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember just going over that bridge. But
Yes.
it's like a subconscious situation where your mind knows what to do and it takes care of it. But you're
Mhm.
like, how the heck did I operate this vehicle, this metal object, and go over the bridge and navigate traffic?
Yeah.
And I just did it like 5 minutes ago, but I don't remember doing that.
Right.
Isn't that
I
unusual? That's the unexplained sort of stuff that,
It's weird. It's a weird feeling. I've been on a horse sometime when I've been riding and very concentrating very hard on what I'm doing, working on a specific thing with a horse, like maybe trying to get him to bend more or something. And somebody's been calling me and calling me and calling me, and I haven't heard them because I was so deep into what I was doing.
you're on bended knee. Literally. Horses. I've interviewed a lot of people in my professional world in television, radio, who work with horses for healing purposes.
Yeah.
They are very healing. They can really help people through some very traumatic times
Mhm.
in their life. What is it, this relationship you have with the horse, that really speaks to you? Because they are a beautiful animal.
Well, I don't know if you've heard this, but there is a saying: the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a person. And
Absolutely. Yes.
no truer words were spoken. My mother would like to know why on earth I decided I needed horses because when I was a kid, she used to tell people they were horse poor because of me. Um, but the truth is that the horses kept me. I don't know why. It's another thing. It's like going to church. It was like going to church. I just felt connected to something much bigger than myself. And no, horses could not care less what I'm wearing, what I sound like when I sing. They don't care if I can act. They don't care. They just respond to you when at your most grounded and honest level.
Yeah.
And if you are not grounded and honest with a horse, you will find yourself in the dirt.
They have a swift kick.
Yeah, I got kicked in the head twice. I know.
Yeah, they they would make field goals pretty easily, I'm sure. Do you have access to them now there in New Jersey? Do you get to go see and visit and be with them?
Oddly enough, New Jersey is the home of the United States equestrian team.
Right.
So you would think I would, but because this is where I learned to ride, and I learned with one of the coaches I had at Wood Lane Riding Academy, who was one of the coaches for the equestrian team, which is another thing I didn't know till later. But no, I haven't. I had horses for years and years and years. My friend Aaron and I used to ride together in California. We would go to horse shows together. And Erin was just unbelievably talented riding Western. She rode Western. Actually, she could ride anything, but she rode Western, and she had trophy on trophy on trophy on trophy and championship on championship. And we used to laugh about the fact that the truck and trailer we had were not, the most gorgeous on the planet, but we would get in there and clean their clocks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You meant business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is funny.
I've learned, and I ride hunters and jumpers and dressage. I'm the equestrian. I'm the snob. When we moved from New Jersey to California when I was 13, I have to admit it, I was a horrible snob. I thought the school, the public school that they sent me to in California, I was coming from a Catholic school in New Jersey. And the public school was literally 2 books behind me in almost every subject. And I just thought, you got to be kidding. These people, this is land of fruits, nuts, and flakes, I thought. But I loved it. I mean, it was
sounds like a new breakfast cereal, fruits, nuts, and flakes.
But it was an interesting place. And everybody seemed so laid back and everything. And then I went to ride. My mom and dad said, you can get a horse, but you're going to have to go to work. So yeah. I got a job cleaning stalls so I could get a horse there. And when I went to take a lesson, they were riding with saddles we had discarded years ago. So yes, I was a horrible snob. And I sang opera, not this musical theater. What are you talking about? But I got over it.
you got on your own, or were you forced to?
It just made sense. I've decided I liked the laid back better than the snob.
The whole. So you wouldn't categorize yourself at all in any way as a diva?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah. When it's warranted.
Right.
Not all the time. Matter of fact, I catch a lot of flack from some people. I am an artist in residence in the state of South Carolina. I teach dance mostly, but I also do a lot of, like if they're doing a show, they'll call me in to help block the show and get the show on its feet. Right. I don't stay around and take over a show, but I will help them move it along. And there's been some dance teachers I've worked with, not just in South Carolina, but other ones who have their dance classes and they put themselves in the show with the kids. Mm-hmm. And I don't get that. Yeah. Because my joy, the thing I get the most gratification from is seeing those children succeed.
Right. It's their time.
I want them to shine. And I mean, I can't even, these kids don't know this. And okay, I'm going to out myself. I can't, my mother always watches the show from the front row. She's always like, I saved you a seat. And I'm like, no, I can't.
She's probably in the front row watching this right now with a bowl of popcorn. And
well, my mother is a dance teacher. She started a dance program at Wilson High School. No, she took over the dance program at Wilson High School in Long Beach, California. And that then proceeded to become the largest dance program in a public school in the country.
Extraordinary, yeah.
And then when she retired, to South Carolina, which is where she was born and raised, she started a dance program at the high school there in Fairfield County. And it's just remarkable to me when those kids who some of them have so little, but they try so hard. I watch those kids struggle. I can raise the bar. I could raise the bar to the ceiling. Those kids leap for it. And they just, it's amazing what they can do. They have this amazing arts coordinator down named Julianne Neal, who is phenomenal. at like, okay, I'm babbling. This is what she'll do. This is a high school full of predominantly Black children in an area that's not rich. And she called me one day and she said, she's decided to do Les Mis. Could I come down and help them get started? I'm like, you're doing Les Mis? Okie dokie then. And I came down and you should have seen these kids. They took on this project and they just ate it up. And
They nailed it,
I
yeah.
couldn't be more proud of them. My mother, I'm going to rat you out now, Mom. I was teaching some third, fourth, and fifth graders for a program they had in the summer called Artworks. And I was giving them some really complicated choreography. But I said, we'll take it slow. You're going to learn this. I got faith in you. And so they were struggling, but they were working on it. My mother said, Joy, come here. Maybe you ought to, tone it down a little bit. Maybe make it a little easier for them. I said, oh, yeah? I said, hey, kids, Dr. Mason doesn't think you should do this. She thinks I should make it easier. And they said, Dr. Mason, how could you say that? We can do it, Miss Joy. You just show us. We'll do it. We'll do it. And when I got to watch those kids perform that, I stood in the back and just cried because they were phenomenal.
Guess what Dan says from Dr. Mom? This is a message into the newsroom, a
Oh,
live
no.
breaking bulletin from Dr. Mom. Even though I have gained a few years in age, I still love to dance.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
And now we return to our regularly scheduled programming. Bulletins at once. Film at 11.
I got
That's funny.
this urge to, I would rather teach. If I was going to stop performing, I would find a way to be a teacher full time, even though you have to deal with parents.
Do you like teaching and mentoring and inspiring others?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm not the easiest person to have as a teacher because I don't couch terms very well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of the kids, especially the older kids, the high school kids, the maybe first or second year college kids, I come at them full bore and I'm like, you know what? If you have decided you want to do this as a living, I'm going to be your best friend because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to pull any punches because let me tell you, this business, it will run you over like a steamroller if you're not ready. And some of them backed off. Some of them later on told me they really appreciated it because when they did enter the professional arena, they ran into exactly what I told them they were going to.
That's beautiful because you're doing it to, get them ready, get them prepared, because sometimes they just see the glamour of it all and they think, oh, well, this is going to be a piece of cake and I'm going to be riding in limos and everybody's going to want my autograph. I'm going to make millions of dollars and that's about it.
I've had a few people backstage in some of the shows I've done, big Broadway shows, which I will not name. And one girl was upset because the director yelled at her about something. And she was backstage. And I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. She said, what do you think? What should I do? And I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. You shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And she said, what do you mean? And I said, I know about 100 other women who can take your spot.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I said, so if you came in here, she was very green. She had come right out of college. She knew nothing. And she was doing some really basically stupid things. And I said, here's the deal. You really shouldn't be here because you don't know the job. Okay, you're here. So you're lucky enough to be here. Now it's up to you to learn the job.
Right.
And if you can't do that, then leave because there's a whole lot of, and she boo-hooed buckets. And I said, dry it up because nobody cares. See.
When you just did that, you did look a little bit like Della Reese. You were channeling Della.
I probably was because I remember thinking when she yelled at me, oh my God, I was like, she scared me to death. And I thought, she's right. I really have no excuse for what I did. And I made it to the third round
You
of this
learned,
thing,
yeah, you
and I
learned.
hadn't actually learned the song
Right. The lesson, yes, but not the song. Right.
because I didn't think I was gonna make it that far. Remember I told you I didn't think I
Yeah.
was special
You
enough?
didn't think you were
So she
right.
yelled at me and
Exactly.
she was like, "Don't you ever do that again because you're a talented person. But if you don't make it, it'll be your fault." Oh, you're right. I was channeling her, wasn't I?
She grit you yeah, you grit the teeth and everything.
I did because I was not, and with this girl, I wasn't having it. And it seemed to work because the girl did learn the job. She
She
also
learned.
followed me around after that, which was really annoying.
Yes, I guess she needed to be challenged. She liked that challenge that you were giving her. Maybe she didn't ever get that before. You know what I mean? She wasn't tested. I was on a TV shoot once in New York, and I was cast as the male spokesperson for this major automobile chain, and I was the host and I was the spokesperson, and they
Mhm,
had a female spokesperson as well, and we were shooting all these different commercials, and I think it was a chain of Hyundai and Toyota dealerships,
mhm,
and it was a major chain in New York. So we were outdoors, and I had worked with the producer director who also owned the production company many times. I did PC Richards commercials
mhm,
and all kinds of different campaigns with that production company, which was out on Long Island, and there was the female spokesperson that they used, and they had all these other actors and actresses, extras, and it was really, they spared no expense.
mhm,
But I knew that he was not just a taskmaster, but he was a perfectionist, and I got what he needed and what he was looking for, and that it would take time. This wasn't a wham bam. Oh, we're going to do a commercial in and out. His shoots sometimes would be 12 hours for a 30-second commercial. He would
whoa,
rearrange, like when we did PC Richards commercials, rearrange the entire store. We would shoot them at night when the store was closed because you couldn't have all that activity. So, some of the extras would be salespeople and they would be customers.
mhm,
But with this dealership chain, we were outdoors filming, and during some downtime when he was taking these extra shots, it was really cool. He would be in the middle of the parking lot with his crew, and he built almost like this cave with all of this canvas over it. And all you saw is the lens sticking out. And he was in there, sort of in this cave that he would build. And so I had a relationship with him, so I knew what he was looking for.
mhm,
We were taking a little bit of a break. Other people, the extras, I think they were filming. So we were sitting in the back, and she was one of her first acting gigs type thing, acting slash spokesperson slash host type thing. So she was showing the other actors and actresses who were sitting there, professionally trained out of New York. Um, she came from a world of modeling, and this was one of
mhm,
her first acting sort of spokesperson roles,
mhm,
and it was going to be something good and big. But what she did wrong was she was showing all the other actors and actresses her modeling portfolio while we were sort of idling, waiting to be brought outside to shoot more. So they're like, shh, don't show that around. You're on set. Don't pitch other work
mm-mm,
to everybody in the crew and everything. That's not how it works. You're in glory that you're on this major project right now, and they're
mhm,
paying you for that. And it may lead to a string of other ongoing residual situation commercials. And she didn't listen. And so they tried the other, actors and actresses who have done this for a living for a long time, tried to warn her, and she wasn't having it. She wasn't having it. She sort of felt, because she had done the modeling, that she was almost above what the actors and actresses were doing. And they were sensing that. So then she starts complaining about, when are we being fed? When is lunch? This is taking too long. Normally, when I do the modeling, we're fed, quickly and all this other. So she started, and everybody's like, shh, and she's getting vocal, and we're like, do not, because we know him and we
Mhm.
know he has, he'll come flying out of there and saying, you're out immediately because he's working hard and we've been on this long shoot and he's up against the sun setting. All of this has to match lighting. There were rain clouds circling. So he
Mhm.
was under pressure to get this done. And it had to hit the air real soon too. The commercials had to start soon. So we had to edit them quick and everything. So they were telling her, zip it. Don't start complaining about whether we're going to eat. Don't worry, we're going to eat. You could have brought a snack or whatever, but they're setting up the craft services now. And then she starts complaining about what they were serving. And I guess he overheard all of these things and she was never used again. She was never
Wow.
used again. So sometimes, you can learn. And when, like, you were trying to give her some tips, even if you had to be, stern a little bit, it was almost like scared straight a little bit. You have to
Mhm.
do that in a way. They were gingerly trying to give her some tips,
Mhm.
and she wasn't having it and had bit her in the end because this was a massive campaign. And he said, Cash change, cash change. This was, we'll pay you
Wow.
for the day, but we're
Wow.
not shooting the other 10 commercials with you.
Whoa,
Uh,
man.
you
That
know,
poor
Never
girl. What am I
complain about the
saying?
sandwiches. Whatever it is, like it.
Or bring your own.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Eat
God.
big before you go.
Yes.
But that but that, that was a lesson learned for
Yeah.
her, and, we've all been on situations like that where probably we're like, "Oh, that person should not be
Not
riling things
only
up," you know?
not only have I been in situations like that more times than I can count. I at first it made me uncomfortable. In my old age, it just entertains me now. I'm like, look, if you're going to be an idiot, I'll just get popcorn and watch and wait to see what the
Because
director.
this is gonna
Wait,
end soon.
yeah, wait to see how it is. But when I was singing for Princess Cruises, about I'm going to say 2 years into my stay with them, I got I got a few emergency calls from the home office saying, "We know you just got home, but we need you to get on the ship." My parents and I were moving, and I got a call because I didn't have an address. I stayed my things lived at my parents' house while I was at sea most of the time,
Yeah.
and they were moving from Huntington Beach to South Carolina, and I was moving someplace else. No, we were all moving up to Long Beach into a smaller apartment because I transitioned. Literally, they called me while the moving van was there, and I had to put my suitcases in the street to pack them to go on a ship. But another time they called and they said, we're having a little issue on this ship. Can you come take this ship for a
Mm,
couple of weeks?"
mhm.
And I said, "What's the issue?" And they go, Just come."
Just tweet.
If And I said, "Okay." So I got there, and my friend Cindy was a dance captain on that ship. And I got there and had a rehearsal with the cast, the men and they called them boys and girls back then, but I don't think they
Sure.
do that anymore.
Right.
And then the male guest entertainer who was brand new, this young man whose name I don't remember. I went in there and he was wreaking havoc. He was being rude. He kept stopping rehearsal to give his opinion about something that was going on. And I just watched, but I didn't say anything at first. Then the bandmaster called us over to go over some of the harmonies that we sing together. And but by I was irritated with this child by this time. And mind you,
It was
he's
a cacophony of
a
nonsense.
oh yes, a cacophony. And I'm going to say he's a good 20 years younger than I am. So by that time I was past the point of I suffered fools not at all. So we get to the bandmaster to the piano and we're going over this. And he stops. He says, "Look, you're singing the wrong part." And I said, "Excuse me?"
Mm.
And he said, "That's my part. The part you're singing right there." I said, "Pray tell, what did you learn your part from?" He said, "Did you learn it from the tapes because this is when they still had cassette tapes. I
Yes.
said, "Did you get the cassette of this show? Is that what you learned it from?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Then I know I'm singing the right part." And he goes, "Well, how do you know?" And Jim,
Mm,
sometimes
yes.
God just takes over your body
Right.
and you have no control over what you
It's
do.
right.
I grabbed this child by the lapels and I threw him up against the wall and I said, "Because I recorded that, dumbass. Those are my tracks. I know I'm singing the right part. You're singing the wrong part." And he goes, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And I said, "And if you don't stop giving everybody grief, so help me God, I'm going to shove my foot so far up your butt it won't see daylight." And he said, "Oh, okay, okay.
Delaries.
Problem solved." He never gave anybody any more trouble.
That would sometimes that scared straight way is the only way to do it.
I remember though when I let go of him, I thought, why did I just do that? That was really fun. But I just couldn't. I couldn't. And my friend who was dance captain, she was so harried and exhausted. And I was like, okay, this child needs to be put out of our misery.
And then 5 years later, you got a telemarketer phone call, and it was him trying to sell you aluminum siding.
I hope not, because he was a wonderful performer. He
Just was a
a
little
child.
strong and didn't learn certain
I think he got over it though. I
the
think he did.
tactful ways to do it.
There's a lot of that in this business.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of
absolutely.
people who think they have the right to be rude.
Whether they're just starting out or they've been doing it for years, right, exactly, and none of that doesn't work with me either. I just don't. I'm just so not like that. I'm a Libra. We're balance and harmony. I'm just so not like that, and I will be somebody who probably I'm not a yeller, but I use certain words and some humor sometimes that will deamp it and get it to disappear quickly.
I've had somebody ask me the other day, how do you, they said they wish they could grow up to be me because I seem to handle
Yeah.
bad situations calmly. And I thought,
Is
well,
that your dad, you think? The the the
I'm going
sort
to
of
say
even-tempered person?
well, that partially, but mostly because I have a lot of my mother in me too, whereas mom suffers fools, not at all, at all. I, I think it's just a matter of I looked up one day and said, "You got to pick your battles. You really can't jump
You
into everything."
no, right.
And I've learned. I was moving a horse, a phenomenal 17 hand coal black son of Prince of Reason, my colt into a barn for training. Granted, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, which is not an hour. I'm usually awake, and I had on jeans and a sweatshirt and a bandana. So, and this is in California. And my horse was in the trailer. I knocked on the door of the woman who ran the barn. She owned the barn. I knocked on the door and she opened the door. She said, "No hay trabajo ahora." I said, "That's great. I'm not looking for a job. I'm moving my horse in." And the mechanism in my brain that immediately said, "Oh, okay, this woman's a bit of a racist," and
Yes.
said I could stand here tooth and nail and fight with her, or I could just get on with it and see where it lands. And once again, God puts his hand on me and says, "You no, don't, just go with it." So I said, "That's great. I'm moving my horse." And she goes, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Mickey's new student." And she goes, "Fine, I'll be out in a minute." Well, she came out. She said, "Well, get your horse out of the trailer." I said, "Okay." So I backed up this 17 hand coal black thoroughbred who was gorgeous. He was a goof, but he was gorgeous. I got him out of the trailer and her eyes went like this. And she goes, "Oh, that's your horse?" And I said, "Yes, they let us own them now. Isn't that wonderful?"
Yeah.
And it was,
And she
she
did
did,
an about face.
she did the backstroke for weeks trying to make up for that.
Okay, that's it. Lesson learned. Lesson
And no
learned.
yelling required.
No, exactly right. That's exactly well done. Well done. Um, in addition to all of this wonderful work, in Broadway and off Broadway, you created the role of Power Woman in Menopause the Musical.
Yes,
Tell us
I
about
did.
that. How's that for a segue?
That was that that is something I need to write another book about. That was a very interesting experience. Menopause the musical was not just a show, uh, it was a service to the community because I did not realize at that time. I mean, women out there, menopause is a thing, but they don't really when I was young, because remember, it's been a while. Uh, no one talks to you about menopause. So there were certain things that were beginning to happen. I wasn't in full blown menopause at the time, but they were starting to happen. And I had absolutely no clue what was going on. So I auditioned for the show, got the show. And as we went on doing the show, talking about the symptoms and blah, 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 I was like, you're kidding. Really? All this is good. Now, I didn't tell everybody else that I had no idea what was going on. But it was fascinating doing that show, watching. There was always a small theater, like a black box size, or maybe a little bigger than black box. But the impact that
Yeah.
little show had on audiences was enormous. Just
Yes.
enormous. Putting that show together was bizarre, and we would need another 2 hours for me to tell you about that. But truly, it was a worthwhile experience. It wasn't brain surgery. It wasn't, the script certainly was not Ibsen. The music was not, Rodgers and Hammerstein or anything really earth shaking. But Corinne Aquilino, who was our music arranger and music director at the time, she did a stellar job putting together, because it was a jukebox show, all the
Right.
songs. But what that show did for the audience, the women in the audience, and some of the men too,
Yeah.
was phenomenal. We even had we did show on Valentine's Day, which I thought was weird. I'm like, why are we doing a show on Valentine's Day? And when we come out on stage, you know how if you know the script and the lines and everything's well enough, you can take a glance at the audience to check it out,
Yeah.
All I could see, as far as the eye could see, was young couples. And I'm like, what are they doing here? So when we left, because the show had no intermission, it was a 90-minute show. When I got ready to leave, color me completely shocked that I got down to the lobby and these couples were waiting to talk to us and say, wow, I'm so glad we came to see this. Now I know what's wrong with my mother.
They could put a face to the name.
Yes, that show
Wow.
was fun doing that show.
And a plethora of other productions that you've been involved in,
Yeah.
off-Broadway, regional, Broadway, television as well.
Yeah.
How did you make that four-way, dipping your toes into television? Booked roles on The Blacklist, Manifest, Luke Cage, House of Cards, Limitless, Nurse Jackie, Gotham, and so much more. And do you enjoy the television side of things?
I love it.
Yeah.
It scared me to death at first, because kind of like that first play I did, I kept waiting for the songs to come up and save me, because that's all I knew how to do. I thought that's all I knew how to do. But TV is so different than theater. And I did take a acting for TV class. Thank you, Jesus, because if I hadn't, I remember my first time on camera with them, they're like, you're gonna need to tone it down a lot. Think of it as intimate. And then I realized I could just relax and just be the character and not have to worry about projecting to the last row.
Right.
And because the camera could literally be right here,
Yeah.
right in your face.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to play a great range of characters so far, and I'm looking forward to playing some more.
That's fantastic.
Especially when I got to play a crazy murderer on Manifest.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was wonderful. And my husband laughed because I was enjoying it. He's like, "You're enjoying this murderer thing a little too much."
A
I'm
little
like,
too much. And
kinda cool, really?
did you make him nervous? Or
I always make him nervous. It's my job.
it's the she manifests nervous. But you're enjoying this ride, aren't you? All these
Yeah.
different opportunities and from acting to singing. I mean, we have some fantastic shots here. Look at this.
Oh, Crowns.
Tell us about this.
That was me playing Wanda in Crowns. I've done Crowns now 4 times,
Hmm.
and they have occasionally called me and said, "Hey, we'd like you to play Mother, or maybe play the one of the other roles." I'm like, "Nope, I'm Wanda. That's all I do. That's it." She is the soprano in the bunch,
Yeah.
and the other roles are more gospel belters, and I'm like, yeah, if you wanted me to do that, if you wanted someone to do that, you really don't want me. You want somebody.
Yeah.
I
Right.
grew up, I'm Episcopalian, not
Uh-huh.
Baptist.
Right.
So I have had to tell many people that who have hired me to sing some gospel role, and I'm like,
Right.
I can fake it,
Yeah.
but standing next to someone who actually sings gospel, I
Is
sound stupid. And I'm okay with that. So you need to get somebody who's
who's
I
really
I can make probably some audiences think I'm a great gospel singer if there's no other gospel singers in the show.
right.
but
But if
but
there are,
but if there are, no, then I'm playing Wanda in Crowns. And when I saw, oh, there I am, Menopause the musical.
there it
Yep.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
When was this photo taken? Great shot.
That was after we moved to, because it started out on the west side and ended up on the east side at the little theater that I don't think is there anymore. So I
Yeah.
think right about then is about 2 years after because the show ran for 4 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually left it for about 6 months and then came back again.
You did.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's cool. Look at this shot.
Yes.
I love the guests' reactions because they never know what we're going to show and when, when we pull it up. I think that's cool.
Oh my God. Yeah, we had fun doing that number. We had to change clothes so fast in that show. And the good news is the audience laughs a lot. So you get a chance to change clothes while they're laughing. That's Oklahoma in Portland.
Yeah.
I was playing Aunt Eller. That was a truly miraculous experience. It was an all-black cast of Oklahoma. First time that Oklahoma has ever been done with a completely black cast.
Hmm.
And I asked the director, Chris Coleman, who is an amazing director. I asked him, why did you choose to do Oklahoma with an all-black cast? That is strange to me. And he said, well, turns out there was a lot of black people in Oklahoma around this time. And that in reality, this show could very well have been based on a black community, on the goings on in a black community.
Yeah.
And that, sad to say, because the way history is taught or
Hmm.
not taught in our country, I knew nothing about what had gone on in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, and
Right.
places like that.
Yes.
So I did some research on that. And then as I tried to really internalize a character, I had played Aunt Eller before, twice before actually, but this was different. We felt this, all of us did, down to our shoes, this part. And here's the funny thing. The people who, the Hammerstein, the Rogers and Hammerstein people came, they always have a representative come to see the shows that are put up in theaters. And the one guy who came was in tears. He loved it so much. He said it seemed to mean so much more to him. And I had audience members coming to me and saying, I've seen this show so many times, but I never really listened to it before, never really understood it, never got that feeling that it connected with me before. And I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you never know when you're doing the
You
work
never,
or creating the art or
that's
sharing
why,
it
that's
that
why I give it to directors like Chris Coleman who are willing
right.
to take that leap.
Take it on from there
Mhm.
because everybody, whether they're watching a film or they're watching a stage production, they're looking at sculpture or a painting on the wall, or they're listening to music or just looking through the lens of their eyes and listening
Mhm.
with their ears. Everybody has their own interpretation. Everybody has their own connection and relatability to whatever it is. So the artist, the creator may have a certain vision that they had when they created that art or whatever
Mm.
it might be. And then people sort of find different ways to thread connection to it. And sometimes you never realize what people see in something that the original creator didn't even necessarily see, and can really
Mhm.
be beautiful. And
Mhm.
that's the magic of it all, isn't it?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. And I think that show, because it's so Americana, I think the reason why people were listening to it, quite honestly, why some of those people listened to it so so closely, so carefully, is because it was an all black cast. I think they thought they might hear some urbanness come out in it, but we did not. We were faithful to the script. Some things had to be changed, like the girl couldn't sing about his blue eyes, but um, we were faithful to the script. We stuck with the story. We dug into that story,
Right.
and then I think they were listening more because they were waiting to hear what would change. But they listened so closely that it connected to them. Ha.
Yeah, right. Exactly. By staying true to form and authentic and
Mhm.
organic, which is really the way to do it.
Mhm.
And so yeah,
Authentic, that's the word, authentic.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Speaking of authentic,
My
authenticity.
That's me and my first contract on Princess Cruises.
Wow.
Panama Canal, 16 trips through the Panama Canal.
Spectacular shot, huh?
So, yeah, honestly, I was just my friend called me. He said, "Hey, Joy," and I turned around and said, "What?" And that's the picture he took.
And this was in 2011?
Oh, yeah, uh-huh, sure.
That's yeah.
My aunt called me when she saw this picture on Facebook. She said, "You have never been that dark in your life." I said I said, "Yes, I was when I sang it. I was on Princess
You
Cruises
were on the
in
first
the
ship.
Panama Canal,
Yeah.
and I spent every day on the deck because
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot else to do. So we hung out around on the deck. And next thing I know, oh yeah, I was 12 in this
Wow.
picture.
That's the equestrian right there,
And I
huh?
think and I think that's my grandfather's behind me. Yes, that was my very first full equestrian outfit that we pieced together for about $1.95.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think the most expensive thing in that outfit was my shirt. The shirts are called rat catchers, and
right.
I think that rat catcher was the most expensive thing in the outfit. And I had a little horse named Misty who was 14, 2 hands high, with a bald face and one blue eye and one brown eye, and she was the sweetest thing.
What would you say, what would the Joy Lynn of today say to the Joy in that picture?
That it's okay to be a freak. That it's okay. It's okay to wanna be an equestrian and sing opera, even if all the other Black kids around you are telling you that you're weird and that some of your relatives think you're weird. So, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Do you?
Yeah, gotta
Yeah,
do you, and it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and pluck your eyebrows, please, because they look ridiculous.
Well,
That's
Want to expand on that or
I have my father's eyebrows. I'm sorry, mom. I gotta rat daddy out. Daddy was the sweetest guy on the planet, but he had these weird eyebrows. They grow up and then down the middle of the eye. And did I get them? Yes, I did. So,
and Joyce says
Joyce!
Joyce is here.
Joyce Savertlick, how are you, honey?
She's been commenting throughout, and Dan loves the photos, and Kathleen loves the photos, and Christine Clifton saying, "Loving all the interesting stories. Joy is sharing her life and career. What a career!" Beautifully said from our Lovities watching as well.
Oh, I have to tell you, Joyce Savertlick. Oh,
Yeah,
there I am. And Joyce Savertlick, just let me say quickly, she's the one that took over for my mother in the day in Long Beach at the high school.
she
Joyce
did.
took over, yeah, because mom took it to a certain level. I mean, it was, she had a lot of dancers. Joyce took it even further, built
She
on that success. And by the time Joyce took over, it was the largest dance program in a public school in the country,
that is amazing,
isn't it?
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a vision and she ran with it. That's a
Oh, she was phenomenal dancer. Could have had an incredible career as a professional dancer, but this is somebody who wanted to teach, and God
yeah,
bless her for that.
and she knows that because she said, "I'm good."
Yeah. Yes, she Amen to that, Joyce.
I'm
Amen.
good. The proof is in the pudding, right? The
Yeah.
proof is in the pudding. Absolutely. And this is Manifest, right?
Yes, this is the crazy
Mm.
Christine murderer. Yeah.
What was the subject? What was happening?
Let me see. Oh yeah, this is the first scene where I'm in the kitchen helping him, and it 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 really it's a twist, and it
Yeah.
was really fun that you don't know it's that I'm the murderer until like the very end of of the show, which was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the hair people wanted to murder me, and I tried to tell them. I tried to tell them because they were like, they like my hair and they like it down and all this. And I said, yeah, okay, but my hair is kind of it has a mind of its own. And
Right. Yeah.
if it's humid, all bets
Oh,
are
then it
off.
becomes
A Q-tip. And they didn't believe me. And I was like, okay. And they said, no, we
yeah,
can handle it. We can
yeah,
handle it.
we
Well,
got this.
the last shot was outside and it had been raining and it was hotter than hell out there.
That's the
And
worst. Yeah.
and my hair just every time I went out to do a scene, it just went whoosh. They came at me with a blow dryer like every 5 minutes. I'm like, guys, please.
It was like the 70s all over again.
It was. It was a great experience. I had a great time on that show.
Now, you're working with your husband on something very creative called Phantom Tracks. What
Yes.
is that? That sounds exciting. Tell us about that.
We've been doing this a long time. Okay. Once upon a time, a tall, very good looking guy, my husband. Um, he looks a little, I've always teased him about looking like Superman. I have
Yeah.
to say this. I have always teased him about looking like Superman, especially before I started feeding him. That's my fault. And and I got him the blue shirt with the S on it, the Superman.
Wow.
And he said he was not going to wear that. And I'm
He
like,
wasn't
honey,
gonna wear
come on,
that, yeah.
just once, just once.
Just once.
So he
Do
wore
it
it
for me.
once. He did
Yeah.
to Barnes and Noble, and he was going to open the door, and this little boy was
Mm,
trying his darndest to open the door, and the door was heavy. And
yeah.
my husband reached over, he said, "I'll get that for you, son." And the little boy said, "Thanks." And he
Mhm.
just watched my husband walk by, and as we
I
walked
just
in,
met Superman.
I heard him say to his mother, "Mom, Mom, that was Superman." And his mother said, "I saw that, honey. Isn't that nice?"
That what a great experience that was for the kid, huh?
My husband works backstage at Phantom of the Opera, and he has for the last 17 years.
So he knows Toby Hoffman, who we know, who's
Yes,
yes,
Satomi. She's
yes,
phenomenal, phenomenal talent.
yes. She was our
And
connection, and she's terrific, and they're back. Phantom is
yes,
back,
thank God,
on
because
Broadway, yeah.
had to get him out of this house. He was driving me crazy. Uh, yeah, we're so happy they're back.
That's exciting, huh?
Oh, I went to the invited dress the night before they reopened.
Yeah.
It was so much fun watching
And
the
probably
show.
very emotional and very moving after all this time with the theaters closed on
It
Broadway
was
and just every people out of work and everything, the crews, the restaurants around the area, everything. There's just a lot
everything.
of
When the orchestra hit
yeah.
the first big note and the chandelier starts to go back up,
Yeah.
people were just crying,
Yeah.
just crying. It
Beautiful.
was wonderful. But anyway, Michael's worked backstage for 17 years, and
17.
one day he's an artist
Yeah.
aside from being he's a graphic and he's an artist. He
Yeah.
paints and draws
Yeah. Constantly. Yeah.
constantly. He got bored and got a piece of paper, and he started drawing on it, and then he draw something cutesy and held it up in the wings so that the people that he was dressing, because he was dressing I think the men's ensemble at the time, and he held it up and they were laughing, and the stage manager didn't mind because it didn't interfere with the show and it made everybody happy. So after that he started doing one poster. He got poster board, the giant poster board.
Oh, sure.
He would
Yeah.
cut it in half so it'd be that size, And he would take a magic marker and sit down and draw whatever came to mind, or whatever holiday he would draw something on. And he did one for every show. We have a
Wow.
basement full
Phil of
of
poster board.
posters.
Yeah.
And then I said to him one day, because they were all in black and white, and I said, why don't you put some color in these
You need
things?
to
He
do
said,
something with this.
he
Yeah.
didn't want to put color on them. And I said, well, I'll do it. So, and I'm the color pencil queen. So I started putting color in them. And a few years ago, we made Christmas cards of them, and we sold them because people kept asking us for them.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah, it was lots of fun. And
Wow.
here, I can show you two of them. They're not the Christmas ones, but this made me laugh. This is one for International Choreographers Day. Can you see it?
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah.
That was International Choreographers Day. And then my husband has a very warped sense of humor. He found out there's Thomas Crapper Day. Did you know that?
There is, yes.
Yeah. So he did this one for Thomas Crapper Day. And I did the color. I should have gotten the Christmas ones out because they're hysterical. He's got
You
one
use that one for your Christmas cards?
no.
Only for the bill collectors.
We have one of my favorite one is a Christmas tree. No, a man in the middle of a living room wrapped in Christmas lights with two Christmas trees seated in chairs.
That's watching the role reversal there.
Yes.
That's cool.
And my other favorite one is the reindeer with a cup of coffee talking to Santa Claus going, Mr. Claus, we've told you before, our union does not allow us to do this without a break. Yeah.
That is. Allison says, love everything. She's loving this. And Christine says, Phantom is back. How wonderful for your husband. I had an opportunity. It was really cool with my work with public television and PBS. And this was through WNET in New York, Channel 13, working with them, to co-host with my colleague, broadcast colleague and friend, Denise Richardson, the Great Performances 25th anniversary of Phantom of the Opera. And they had a PBS special, Great Performances, a few years back, marking the 25th anniversary. I mean, the show and it's well past that now, but just incredible every night and just for so many years. And we filmed right there at the Majestic Theater, and they had lowered, the theater was empty, and they had lowered the chandelier behind us, and they had the camera set in the rows. So we were standing together co-hosting for PBS and Great Performances. We were in the aisles, the rows of seats with that lowered chandelier and the stage behind us and the cameras on us. And just the feeling of being there as they were celebrating the 25th anniversary was just amazing. And then we got a chance there were interviews and so many other people that were involved at the time, but just really so special to be a part of that with.
I was there for the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, really.
I was there for the 30th anniversary too. That was when they did was it the 30th that they did the light show on the side of the Empire State Building?
Yes, right. And Andrew Lloyd Webber was there, and really absolutely amazing, right? And again, now back in action, which is, speaking of back in action, you've had an opportunity, you've been blessed to perform really a diverse musical variety with a lot of great, from opera to Motown, with a lot of great symphony orchestras as well. Tell us about that.
I was singing for a concert company for a while, Broadway Pops International.
Yeah.
And they have run by a wonderful friend of mine, Terry, who played Magnolia in Showboat when I was in the cast. And she went on to do many other things with her career, including putting this concert company together, because she did a lot of concerts for symphonies. And she decided that, these symphonies need to, if you give them a prepackaged concert, give them the charts, give them the singers who already know what they have to do, and let them come in and do it, it might be better for them. And the symphonies loved it. They had, and Broadway Pops had BPI had many wonderful shows that they could offer to symphonies. The two that I did the most were the current Jerome Kern concert, love that, and this Motown concert, which was put together for me and Titus Burgess. And singing with Titus is a hoot, because God knows that man can sing.
Oh yeah.
And it's also been put together so it started out just for 2 people, but it's also been put together for 3, which I think is a great way to do it. And then I put it together for 5 people for a concert we did. And wow, that was interesting. But yeah, I've done concerts for pretty much, I love when people ask me, what kind of music do you sing? I've taken to saying whatever's paying the most. I'm not picky.
Right.
Because I've been asked to sing all kinds of music. Yeah.
Do you have is there music that speaks to your heart? If you were to make the selection, what is the music that really speaks to you, Joy?
Music that no one will ever let me sing in public. Because there's a lot of, listen, I like rock. I love power ballads. I love singing that kind of thing. I like R&B, but I like the stuff where the voice is just going, balls to the walls.
Yeah.
Steve Perry, that sort of singing. I sing along with Shayna Easton a lot when I'm home.
Yeah.
My poor neighbors were assaulted this afternoon while I was out there raking leaves. Yeah, and when I have to, whenever I'm rehearsing for a concert, I will work in the yard while I'm singing. And one of my neighbors was like, I finished doing something and I had my headphones on. And when I finished singing this huge aria, I took my headphones off and I heard them applauding. Yay! I was like,
now, were you singing on the balcony during the pandemic? One of those that was singing like they were doing in Venice and New York and everywhere else?
I wish I could. We don't have a balcony. We live in Bergenfield, New Jersey. I don't have a balcony.
That's just.
No, we do have deer. We do have deer.
You do have deer. You do have deer
that eat my plants.
Are you a gardener? Green thumb?
Yeah, oddly enough.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very therapeutic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
Like this plant behind me. I have plants like this all over my house is a jungle, and all these plants I have are all babies of the first one I ever had.
the cuttings, right? And then you, do they have names?
No, the only plant that I have that has a name is one that lives outside, and I call him Bossy because it's a hosta. I don't know if anybody out there is a gardener knows what that is.
Yes.
This hosta he's bigger than I can spread my arms.
Become monstrous.
He's monster. So I call him Bossy. Yeah.
You call him Bossy. Do you talk to the plants?
I kind of do when I'm irritated with them. Like
I like the way you said that. I kind of do.
Kind of do. I will come in and go, okay, guys, you're thirsty. Is it time for water? But this one behind me, the one I just pointed out a minute ago, that sucker had the nerve to climb the wall and get stuck in the paint. And I had to get it out of the wall the other day.
That is hilarious.
I know. I'm like, I was yelling at it. What did you do? Get off of there.
That is funny. I mean, Man of La Mancha, The King and I, Thoroughly Modern Millie, just crowns, and you've had
Man
a
of La
chance.
Mancha.
South Pacific, Ain't Misbehaving.
Yeah,
what a variety, huh?
Man of La Mancha was truly that was a baptism in fire. When you play Aldonza, man, you have to work every end of your skills because you not only have to sing, you have to move, and you have to be okay with a rape scene. And that's hard.
Right, you're right.
And the first time I did that show, my dad sat through the whole show. And Mom and Dad came to see the performance many times. Mm-hmm. And Mom told me that he only sat through the rape scene once. After that, he would leave when he knew it was coming up.
That was,
yeah.
One and done with that. Yeah, that's, absolutely. You know, when you look at this prolific career and all these fabulous things you've had an opportunity to do and still do, what are some of those, those continued blessings and joys in your life, Joy, that inspire you to do what you do so well?
Every time, every show I do, you know that old saying, "You're only as good as your last show." I take that to heart. That I have to keep improving. That like yesterday, we have an endless parade of video auditions that I have to do because of the pandemic. But I got to tell you, I'm kind of liking the fact that I heard Satomi say, you have control over your own environment. You have control over everything.
Self-taping,
The
yeah.
self-taping I'm thinking it's a blessing. It can be a bit of a strain when your agents forget that if your agents might forget that, you only do one at a time and you get sent a lot of
Yeah,
them and you're
yeah,
like,
send me
okay, wait.
11 by the morning.
It's like, okay, slow down because there's
Yeah.
a lot. But I did one yesterday for a new play that it's a brand new play. And
Oh,
I just
good
said, you know
luck,
what?
huh?
I told my husband, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go for this. I
Yeah,
said, I'm going to be all over this. And I said, what I'm going to do in this audition, I'm going to dig really, really deep into just doing it. I said, so make sure that normally I do a really close up, but I'm like, nope, get in, pull it back a little bit because I want to be able to move.
right.
And when I did, he goes, wow. He said, that was real. So that's what inspires me. The challenge to make everyone more real, better than the last one.
That's beautiful. What would you say to somebody who wants to go into this line of work, who's looking at all of this now? Maybe they're watching this live or they're going to watch this later in the archives on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and they're like, I'm loving this conversation. Maybe I want to take a stab at that. I've always wanted to do it. And a lot of people have said they've answered that question by saying, here's the deal. You have to be in any of these industries that any of us are in, you have to be 100% in. You can't be 50% do this, 50% maybe want to be the accountant. Because if that's the choice, be the accountant.
Mhm.
You need to really, because it's blood, sweat, and tears and rejection and hours and all sacrifice and ups and downs and all these different things.
Mhm.
What would you say? What have you learned? What would you pay forward to somebody watching right now who's seeing joy and saying, I would love to do this too?
That it's a great ride, but you got to be ready for the bumps and the stop signs and the yield signs that come along.
Yeah.
It's like driving. You have to know the rules of the road. And I mean that most sincerely. There are some hard, fast rules, like not showing your modeling portfolio around at a shoot. You need to learn how to be the best you, the most honest, straightforward, grounded you, and not be afraid of saying, I can't do that, or I won't do that, or that's an insult to me. You can't be afraid of doing that. If you're afraid that you won't work again because you speak your mind, then don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's because
Right.
this job is, I know there's some theaters I will never work in again because I stood up and said, no, I'm not doing that. But you have to be honest. You have to be ready to take it on the chin if it doesn't go well. I was in House of Cards playing the state's attorney. And I went in to get a costume fitting because I was just they would call me in occasionally to do this. So I went in for the third time to get a fitting. And when I got there, they had an entire rack of clothes. And I said, I'm only doing one episode, right? And they said, they told us to build you a closet. And I said, do you know something I don't know? And they said, your agent's going to get a call.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got in the car, my agent said, they just called me. They want to talk to you about being a recurring regular. And I said, yes. And then the next day, Kevin Spacey. And that was the end of that. Now, that was depressing. But I just took a deep breath and I said, oh, well, you had the opportunity. It'll come again.
Right. Right.
As long as you are solid, you come prepared. You have no excuses because nobody wants your excuses. Nobody cares. You have to be kind to people. And if you see someone you can help them. That is what people will remember. You want them to remember you because you are an honest performer, a prepared performer, and a kind person.
And you are all of the above and then some. For sure. Is there anything, do you have a few things on your, not bucket list, but list of things to do that you still want to take on, things that maybe you want to do more of, or things that you haven't dipped your feet in, but man, would you like to?
I want to do more film and
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
TV.
I see comedy. There. You have a comedic. You and I. This is a fabulous tennis match. It's as if we've known each other for 25 years.
It is kind of.
So this is so like fabulous. It's automatic. Easy. It's easy. I like to create. That's my MO. I like to create warm, conversational, freestyle. It's just who I am. It's my personality. But when you have somebody who is serving the ball back in certain ways, it's fantastic for somebody like me who's sort of, conducting the train, but it makes the conducting of it so much more fun and
well,
easier.
It's easy for me because I honestly, my husband, Michael, he was like, so what do you think you're going to do? I'm like, I don't know, probably fall on the floor. I don't know what I'm going to do.
And that has not happened.
No.
Unless you want to do a dramatic roll right now and just flop on the floor.
No, thank you. My Fosberg flop. There you go.
That's it. Christine says, creative and hilarious. I agree. And Joyce says, you're a woman of integrity.
Oh, Joycey.
Isn't that beautiful?
She's a wonderful person.
So film, you said, is something that.
Yeah, I want to do more film. I just finished a film that, unfortunately, I got COVID while I was working on the film.
You did get it, huh?
I did about a couple of months ago, but it was not horrible.
No,
not horrible at all.
Matter
of fact, I was fine until they gave me the Regeneron. that knocked me for a loop.
Knocked you out.
But that's okay. It took me about a week to get over it. And but the film, it's called The Nurse, and I cannot wait for it to come out. I'm playing the mother, and it was deep. It was a deep dive for me because my mother, this is your fault, always taught me a girl should be pretty. But in a lot of these roles, you can't be pretty.
Yeah.
You have to be whatever the role calls for. And I walked into this thinking, you know what, I'm going to be whatever I have to be. And I hear my mother in my head now, put on some lipstick and be pretty. Before I did this interview, I did not have lipstick on. I'm like, oh my God, Mom might watch this. Let me put some lipstick on before I come out here.
And Mom is watching.
Yes, she is. But yeah, I want the kind of roles, and look for it, The Nurse. I hope it comes out soon.
Where will it be seen?
I don't know. It's going to go to festivals first.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So I'm crossing my fingers that it does well. And I have another one coming up. I'm going to be filming in February, I think, about a winemaking family. That's really interesting. So these opportunities, oh my God, once again, I just thought about that. These are great opportunities.
Right. See? Yeah.
But I look up and go, why me? Well,
they see something. They see
okay.
Something. It's that it factor. You know what
I'll take it.
You're genuine.
I try.
You're real. Yeah.
I try.
Yeah. I don't even think you try. I think it just happens. I think you think you're trying, but just even in the conversation we're having here, you maybe think that you're working at it. Yeah. Like I think I'm working at all of this too, but it's just naturally flowing out.
It does sounds like it's natural for you.
Like, for example, like I had somebody did my chart once years ago at public television. She was into astrological and everything else. And she said, oh, you're a Libra. So you crave justice, the sign of the scales, and your balance and harmony. You're always trying to balance everything and make it harmonious. And she said, but wow, there's one thing that really stands out in this chart. I mean, she said, she was like begging me to do my chart. She said, there's just aura, something you give off that is this energy that's really attracting me to have to do your chart. So she does it and she goes, there's one big thing that stands out. You know what that is?
Mm.
She said, you worry too much about whether you're pleasing people because you're a pleaser. You're a caretaker. You like to please. You like to, calm and heal and all those things.
Yeah.
She said, you worry too much. And if you could, and it sounds like maybe similar with you, if you could lose that part, like the trying,
Right.
if you could lose that and not
Yeah.
overdo it or not overdo it, overthink it
Yeah.
about whether you're doing it,
Mhm.
your personality automatically takes care of that. Your personality automatically does it, but you're thinking about whether you're doing it, and
Mhm.
that can get in the way and be a
Mhm.
block, or it can be, just a roadblock. Just lose that. Don't think about it.
Mhm.
Just do you.
Yeah.
And so like that's why I connected when you said, well, I tried, but you do it anyway. So you
Mhm.
think you're trying, but your personality automatically delivers it.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna remember that tomorrow when I'm at my one of the very few in-person auditions that I
Yes.
have to do, and I got the material today, 7 pages.
7 pages.
And
Wow.
I thought, "Oh, great, I'm doing this interview today, and I should be studying this music, but I'm gonna go in." Yeah,
You
it's Chris
got this.
Coleman. Chris Coleman, the
Oh,
director who
yeah.
directed Oklahoma. He
Yes.
knows me, and I'm gonna say, "Look, dude,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this my best shot."
Yes. Right.
That's all I can
Exactly.
do.
That's it. Absolutely. You have a lot of energy and faith on your side,
Amen.
and you will nail it. I want to show you before we head out so you can study.
Okay.
Lisa Rodrigo says, I have chills and tears in my eyes. This is just amazing.
Oh, how sweet.
Loving our conversation. Allison says, you make my day and laugh. Dan Singleton, awesome. Stay blessed and continue to be a blessing. You
Thank you,
too as well,
Danny.
Dan. Absolutely. Sherry Larson, one of our regular Jim Master Show Live lovities, says, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Oh,
Loved hearing your stories.
oh, how
Very
sweet.
entertaining. Best wishes, future endeavors.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
Joyce says, because you're a hard worker.
Um,
Absolutely.
Back
And
at you.
Christine Clifton in North Carolina. Joy has been a joy tonight on JMS Live. Quite a career, very impressive. Happy for her success and opportunities. She's the real deal. She's a talented lovity. That's right.
Oh, I
Wishing
love
her
it.
well. That's it. This was awesome, my friend. Really,
Thank
I hope
you.
the show met whatever expectations you might have had, and
More,
I
more.
appreciate that.
I felt so comfortable, and that's, you know, I appreciate it very much, and I hope everybody enjoyed being here as much as I did,
Oh,
and getting to meet you. Thank you so much.
you as well, and I'm sure, I'm sure we'll get together. Hopefully, we'll all be in the same location. We're not far. We're all in the New York tri-state area,
Right.
but maybe with through Sotomi or something, we'll be at dinner as a
Yeah.
group. That would be fantastic to break bread.
Yeah, it
And
would.
Kathleen in New York City says, thank you for sharing your stories with us. Great show. And I can't wait for Sotomi to see this episode too. I
Yeah.
know she's busy with Phantom, but
Yeah.
I hope she'll enjoy this. I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
She loves our laugh. Allison loves our laughter. There's somebody that makes a quick appearance towards the end of the episodes
Mhm.
each night, and he usually likes to come in just to let us know how well we all did. And it's
Okay.
Mr. George Burns.
Oh. Oh, man, I love
Uh,
George
Isn't
Burns.
that fantastic?
Yes.
So
I'm
does
old enough to
Joyce.
remember George Burns.
XOXO. He said you knocked it out of the park, kiddo, and he's got his
Oh,
cigar. Very dapper, isn't he?
extremely, extreme. My husband's lucky I'm married.
Yeah. This was my mother, as I mentioned to you, we were talking about families and
Mhm.
big families. My mother's the youngest of 16, and this was one of my aunts. She collected dolls, and when he turned 100, she collected this collector's item, and then it got passed down to me.
Wow.
And so I show it
Wow.
at the end of the show, and puts a smile on everybody's faces.
Absolutely.
So there he is. He said, "You knocked it out of the park, kiddo."
Anyway, George.
That's it. And remember, he played God in the movie too.
Yes, he
Remember?
did. Yes, he did.
So you got God on your side.
Mhm,
Not too
mhm.
shabby. So if people want to learn more, website, things of that nature to follow and, check some of the cool things that you're doing.
I have a website, joylinjacobs.com. It is unfortunately still under construction because the pandemic hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I realized the guy who's building it for me, who is outstanding, but I told him, look, dude, I have to work some more so I can get some more money to finish that website. But I also I'm on Facebook, and I always let people know what's
All
going
the
on, and
rest.
Instagram. So if
All,
anybody wants to friend me on Facebook, do it.
all the usual suspect places, right?
Oh, and the Jacobs Phantom Tracks. That's where the posters will show up.
Now, Joyce is cutting to the chase and she says, why do you look 20? We love
Dan.
Joyce tonight, huh?
Oh
We
my
need we
gosh.
need more Joyce in our lives.
See,
She's fabulous.
I've known her since she was in high school. So,
So
because she was
nice.
my mother's student, and I had
See?
graduated from school about 3 years before Joyce came in. So, yeah, I've known her since she was like, super dancer teenager.
Jane's watching in Sweden, one of our regular lovedies in Sweden. She says, this has been such a great show. I had a lovely time watching this. Thank you,
Oh,
Jane, staying up late where it's like, I don't know, 4 a.m.
oh
almost
my
in
gosh.
Sweden.
God
Yeah,
bless you.
she's here every night.
God bless her.
And high five to you and me. You know why?
Why?
Because Dr. Mom is beaming. Your
Oh,
mother
I'm
is
so
beaming after
glad.
watching this,
I'm
huh?
so glad. I'm
You
so
pleased
glad.
mom. You
Yeah,
pleased mom.
that's a good thing. I'm glad she got to see it. Yeah,
Me too. Me too as well. You have a lot of blessings in your life
I
and
do.
a lot of joy. And thanks for sharing your wit and wisdom and
My pleasure.
all this beauty with us. You're welcome back. We'll keep the porch light on for you. Let's stay in touch.
Amen.
Good luck with everything that you're doing. We'll keep
Thank you.
connected and spread the word about our show. We would absolutely love that.
Amen.
Tell everybody,
Will do.
get a bullhorn and stand on top of Mount Everest and say that Jim Masters show is awesome. And
Absolutely.
good luck, as you rehearse tonight.
Thank you.
Much good luck and levity and lovity coming your way, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody out there. Thank you so much for watching.
It was a pleasure. You take care. Now I say to all the guests, go stretch those legs, get the circulation going.
Oh, the circulation's going. We raked leaves all afternoon, so I'm good.
Love Dr. Mom from Joyce. Take care, my friend. It was really
You
a
too.
pleasure to chat with you. And
Thank
we'll
you.
chat again down the line, okay?
I hope so.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Have a good night. Joy Lynn Jacobs right here on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for all the lovity, all these great comments, all this nicety. That's what we do here at the show. If this is the very first time you're experiencing the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, we have over 500, I think 50 episodes of great entertainment, great conversations. Sometimes we have people that are singing and performing, and we have guests that come in from all aspects of life: celebrity friends, Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, health and wellness, science, food, pets, comedy, sports, like an old school talk show like Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Johnny Carson, Dick Cavett, some of the greats, with a modern twist and a modern vibe of today. If you enjoyed this, there's something that we would love for you to do. You know what that is? That is give this episode some lovity and give it a like. Click like on our YouTube channel for this episode and leave a comment for us as well. We would really, really love that. Give it there's a little icon there that looks like a thumbs up on this episode on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up, like, and if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would absolutely love that. That means the world to us. Tell everybody about our unique, special place called the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. It isn't just interviews and all of that. We have a good time on this program, and it was really, really cool having Joy Lynn Jacobs with us here on the show. Amazing. She and I, it was just so automatic, and just so much fun. And I love her wit. I love humor, as you guys know, too. And I always look for a way to make people smile with humor. And And she obviously does too, and it was really fantastic. So we thank her for joining us on the show, and of course, all of you. I want to let you know that we have some amazing people coming up on the 16th from General Hospital. He plays Elijah Crow right now, starring in General Hospital. He's also been on Law and Order and a multitude of television shows, film, even voices on video games. Dan White is joining us on November 16th. If you guys didn't see the episode with the Pointer Sisters when we had Anita and Ruth on the show, that is a classic. So many laughs, so many memories. It was a very open and honest episode. Check that out on our YouTube channel right here at Jim Masters TV. You can see that episode. It was amazing. Jerry Mathers, who played Leave It to Beaver, was with us recently too. Check that out on our YouTube channel. Coming up, we have this week on Thursday, Hollywood's bad guy actor. Yes, he's been cast in many of the bad guy roles in television and film and some of your favorite shows and movies. The one and only Jasper Cole is with us on Thursday night. Tomorrow night, Tony-nominated Peter Link, composer, lyricist, performer, actor. He used to be on As the World Turns, too. He's with us tomorrow night. And you know who's with us on Friday? We're actually going to be celebrating her birthday. The one and only comedy legend, the love goddess herself, Judy Tenuta, is with us live, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, this Friday. You know her. She's been on every show you can think of: Hollywood Squares, Match Game, Entertainment Tonight, soap operas, The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, everything. Of course, she's famous for her accordion. She's a comedy musician. She is the love goddess. She's been in the Vagina Monologues. She's been in like so many shows, and she's hilarious. She's been on our show. She was actually a surprise guest on my birthday episode, celebrating my birthday back on September 24th. We had a blast. She said she wanted to come on the show as a guest, and she said she wanted to come on her birthday weekend. So her birthday weekend is this weekend. Now, again, this is only for those of you who are watching this right now live. If you're watching this episode of the Jim Master Show live 5 months from now, this is old news. Just scroll back in the archives at Jim Masters TV and you can see all these episodes. They will have already been done. But for those that are watching live right now, Judy is with us this Friday. It's going to be a hoot. And we're going to be celebrating her birthday with her and kicking off her birthday weekend exclusively right here live on the Jim Masters Show live this Friday. Don't miss it. It's going to be fantastic. So some really extraordinary guests coming up soon, and guests we've had on the show, and it's amazing. Help us grow. Share the Lovity Gang. Tell everybody about the special place we call the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. It really is a blessing to have all of you here. You're watching it right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. As we always say, don't forget to smile. We say that all the time, gang. Don't forget to smile, and don't forget to share the famous Lovity that we share here on the Jim Masters Show live. Find your Zen place. Mine is with family and friends. Nothing tops that. And I also love cycling and writing and music and tennis and baseball and food and gardening, all the cool things in life. I also love the ocean: swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing. Got to drag me out of the ocean. I love it so much. That's the Atlantic Ocean on the south shore of Long Island, New York. And I love my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years as well. That's another Zen place for me. So find your Zen place and share it with the world. And Kathleen, you did a super sticker. Thank you very much. You know, during live chat, you can do super chat, super emoji, super stickers. That helps support all this work we do with shows just about 7 days a week live, and over 500 and I think something like 540, 530 shows we have done day in and day out since May of 2020, entertaining all of you and inspiring you as we love to do. We also have a Facebook group for this show. It's called The Jim Masters Show, Lovity Hall. The Jim Masters Show, Lovity Hall. It's on Facebook. We welcome you to join us there. You can also find me on Facebook at Jim Masters TV, as well as Instagram at Jim Masters TV and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. And of course, our YouTube channel where we house this series is Jim Masters TV. Love to Kathleen Walker in New York City. Thank you for that. We really appreciate that, Kathleen. You're the best. Jane says, thank you, Jim, for another great show. Night you can sleep in since you've retired now there in Sweden. And thank you very much for being with us as always. 2 shows. Many of you have been with us for both shows. Earlier, we had Irish singer-songwriter, my buddy Colin Keegan, who was with us live from Glasgow, Scotland. He performed live as well. If you didn't see that episode, check it out. It was his return visit. Twice he's been on our show. Christine Clifton says, thanks, Jim, for a terrific show. Really love Joy tonight. Great lineup. See you tomorrow. Good night, Jim. Masterful. And all lovelies. Thank you. I appreciate that. Christine, good night to you as well. One of our great lovelies. Allison says, relax. I think that means you want me to, I don't know if we have that. I don't think I have that here. So I'll just say, relax. I think because we did a big show not that long. We did that. Well, I didn't do it. Doomsday, Dude Perfect, and Halo were in our studio here, and they sort of shifted things around. It's kind of interesting. They did leave, I guess Casper was on the Halloween episode, perhaps. There he is. I had heard that Casper was on the show on Halloween. Did you catch our Halloween episode? If you are used to all of this, catch the Halloween episode. It's right here on our YouTube channel. You will be very surprised. We had some fill-in hosts. Halo and Doomsday Dude Perfect were here. I saw the episode and they were, I think they did a bang up job. First time they ever did it. And together, and I appreciate their compliments of my work doing the show, hosting it and producing it as we do it. So if you didn't see the Halloween episode, it was something very special and it was hilarious. It's archived on our YouTube channel. Kathleen says, have a great night. Good night all and hugs. So much so that you guys are still talking about that Halloween episode. I guess some of you were laughing so much you fell out of your chair and you were like, I guess job well done. Maybe if you want, we will have Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo return to the Jim Masters Show live lineup. Maybe we'll do that. You guys have been really glorious with your comments as far as how well those guys were as far as doing the show. Thanks, gang. Thanks for all these great comments, all this participation. As always, it was great. And we thank you very much for being with us. Sherry Larson in Kansas, who also loved that Halloween episode. Thank you, Jim, for another fantastic conversation. The pleasure is all mine, Sherry. You have a good night. Thanks to those of you who've been sharing the links. Share these links to these episodes of our series, our YouTube episodes. Share them on your social media. Introduce other people to discover our show. That helps us out big time and we appreciate it. And if you did enjoy this episode, give it a like and leave a comment on the actual YouTube channel. You're already on the channel now, so just drop down and leave a nice comment. Let us know how much you enjoyed the show. That helps us too as well. YouTube sees that and then they blast this out further for even more people to watch. Thanks, Jim. This was great. Thank you, Kathleen in New York City. We love that. All these great comments coming in here. You guys are really the best. You're still laughing from the Halloween episode. So am I. I think those guys did a great job. Doomsday Dude Perfect. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what's this Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo and Halloween show? We did a Halloween episode that was epic. We did it on, I keep saying they did it. They did it. The 2 other people. And they did it Halloween Eve. And it was cool. I mean, the set certainly didn't look like this. It was very Halloween and it was cool. Jane is still laughing. And Sherry Larson says, good night, everyone. Sweet dreams. You as well. And they did a fantastic job. Well worth watching the Halloween episode of the Jim Master Show live. It was really cool. Gang, thanks for being with us. You guys are always a breath of fresh air. Sherry Larson says she is wonderful. I believe so. Yeah, I agree. Joy really is. And that's a wrap. We will be back tomorrow. And again, a bevy of fantastic guests coming through the Jim Masters Show Live airwaves. We thank you very much for being with us, and spread the word for us. Let everybody know that we are here, and we toast all of you. Just with some Propel flavored water. This one is orange and strawberry, or orange. Yeah, orange and strawberry. I was going to say raspberry. Orange and raspberry Propel water. This glass was one of my mother's sisters, Aunt Gertie. That tastes good when you've been talking for this many hours all day long. Gang, we love you all again. Take care. Be well. Our goodbyes are always 40 minutes long, so we're going to shorten and just say take care. Again, Peter Link is with us tomorrow night, then Jasper Cole, Judy Tenuta on Friday, and many, many more. So we'll be with you again. Again, love this wonderful shot of Joy, Lynn Jacobs. We appreciate her being with us, and we appreciate all of you being with us as well. Thanks for all the great comments, too, and all the passion you have for this series. This is your home for light, love, levity, and good times. The Jim Master Show live. Christine, you and I are kindred spirits. That's what I'm drinking. Propel. Nice. See you all tomorrow. I know it's still early in the week. We can't have any of that relaxed wine quite yet. It's a little early. And there were certainly many, many hilarious moments with our Halloween episode with Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo. I think that one should go in for an Emmy Award or something. Some of these episodes of the Jim Master Show Live should at least get a Webby Award. Telly. We might even submit some of these episodes for some of that. We should. Thank you, Kathleen. Thanks for being with us. This was really terrific. Double Lovity today on a Tuesday. 2 epic episodes of the Jim Master Show Live in one day. Most shows don't do that. And they don't go this long either. But we love doing it for you. And you guys are a pleasure to do all these shows for. Those of you who are commenting, our regular Lovity squad, and those of you who watch quietly, who don't comment, and those of you who are checking this out later on. If this was your first time watching the Jim Master Show Live, welcome to the family. It's so cool and great to have you here. See you on the next one, gang. Be well, take care of yourself, and thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time. Catch you on the next one here on the Jim Master Show Live. Be well. Take care. Cheers.